I mean, if we were borrowing money in DC to fund the future, I could be for borrowing money. The problem is up there, it's not like on my farm where you invest in fences and you invest in livestock. In DC, we're just pissing away the money and living on basically our seed corn. We are taking what should be saved for the next generation and spending it now.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah, we're robbing the next generation, but it's got so bad, we're robbing ourselves 5 years from now.
Right. It's getting that close.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about, are you talking about the national debt overall? Yeah. Okay, I've heard you talk a lot about it, and I see you got your...
This is my debt badge. It shows I've got 3 levels of brightness, so if you wear it to the movies, you can tone it down and not blind your date. But, okay, so I've got on the brightest level there. Hopefully your camera could see it.
Yeah.
I wear this every second I'm in the House of Representatives. I wear it in hearings. I wear it in elevators with Democrats. They think it's how many steps I've taken. But I built this using my electrical engineering degree. I came up with this idea and I built it. It's got Wi-Fi. Once a day, it connects to the treasury.gov and calibrates to the penny. So it's the most accurate debt representation that you can have. In fact,
holy shit, it's
dude. Let me make sure.
You're like Mark Zucker Twain.
This is, I brought you one as a gift, Theo. Yeah, brother. So,
oh, hell yeah, dude.
You can just stare at the numbers, just spinning all day long. It just clips onto your pocket
but
there.
What kind of woman am I going to meet wearing this, though?
Oh, man. I don't know what kind you've been meeting, but you've really upped your game with that thing.
You think?
Yeah.
They're going to think I am way broke.
I had a female congressman staring at my chest the other day, and I had to tell her my eyes were up here. And then she asked if I would make a belt buckle out of it.
Oh, damn, brother. Yeah, people want it all nowadays. People just want to see your damn wiener if they can for free sometimes. I'm like, get away from me. But let's talk about the national debt. Actually, because can you explain it to me? A lot of people don't even understand the national debt. We hear about it. What is the amount right now, too?
Well, we don't even really know. I mean, this is the regime number, the one that Treasury publishes. It's 36.2 trillion, roughly.
$trillion.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you see this one online? It's not that accurate. Like, it's off by a few hundred billion. We were shipping these debt clocks. I don't make them, but my son-in-law makes them and sells them. And he had somebody go online and find this debt counter and say, "Oh, you sold me a faulty debt badge." And he's like, "No, ours calibrates with Treasury every day."
It's so sad that we can't even get even our debt clock doesn't even. It's like, at least invest in the fucking clock that shows the debt, right?
Well, what they might be trying to do there online is anticipate when we lift the debt limit. Like, right now, we've hit the debt limit, so it's stuck at $36.2 trillion. Every day, they sort of reset the number until Congress raises the debt limit. Now, you say, how do they do that? Well, they start selling off the postal workers' pension fund. They take the money that's been saved up to pay your postman his retirement, and they use that to fund other parts of the government. They can only do that for a few months, and that's what we've been doing for the first 6 months of this presidency. And pretty soon we're going to run out of all those extra things we can spend.
That we're leveraging, basically?
Yeah, we're leveraging all that, and they're going to have to pay it all back. So we're really probably are closer to 36.6 or 36.8 trillion.
But is that a common practice, like leveraging like pensions or I don't want to say like Medicaid and Medicare? They're not leveraging that, right?
Oh, anything they can get their hands on, they liquidate it, and they spend it, for instance, to buy bombs and send them overseas. All that deficit spending right now is not funded by Treasury bonds. All the new deficit spending is funded by the trust funds that have been established that might have money in them.
Okay, I'm a little confused on that.
Well, it's like this, Theo. Let's say you saved up for your kids' college.
Okay,
they've been going to college, and you got enough to pay the next semester of college, but your credit card comes in, and your credit card gets canceled. So instead of renewing your credit card, you just spend your kids' next tranche of tuition or something. But you got to find that money before the next semester comes back, or else they get kicked out of school.
Okay, and so how do we find that money? Like, because obviously we repeatedly...
Well, Congress is going to pass a law here in the next few weeks, and they're just going to say, "Oh, well, there is no debt limit. It's now $5 trillion higher than what we said.
They moved the limit up.
They move the limit up. They get a new credit card. They go out. They start borrowing new money to pay off the money they borrowed, and it's a vicious cycle.
Got it. And it's obviously a cycle that we've been in for a long time. I think to the point where like the national debt doesn't even make sense to people, right? It's like, here's my question: is who do we owe the money to?
Some of it is owed to institutional investors, like the big banks in the United States. Some of it is owed to sovereign wealth funds, like China, Japan, other countries that buy our debt for us. And here's the problem. Right now, they're telling us we don't want to buy your debt at 2% or 3% or 4%. We want at least 5% return. And so everybody thinks the Federal Reserve is setting interest rates. You know, there's all this discussion. Will the Fed raise the rate? Will the Fed lower the rate? The reality right now is the Fed can't do much, because if they lower the rate to, let's say, 4%, and try to tell people to buy our debt at 4%, the people who normally buy our debt, those foreign countries and those institutional investors, are saying, you're not a good investment at 4%. We want 5%. And that's a big problem. Because just to put it in perspective, you know, let's round this number. If it were $30 trillion and we were paying 5%, that is $16,000 per family. I've already done the math. I'm not doing all that in my head right now, but it's $16,000 per family of interest that we are paying.
Got it.
So when you pay your taxes for your family, the first $16,000 goes to nothing except for the interest that's paid to those foreign countries and to the big bankers.
But so we're never going to defeat this number.
You know, we might get in a situation like Puerto Rico got into a few years ago, where the people said, we're just not loaning you anymore. And you know what happens that day? It's actually kind of it'll be scary for a lot of people. For me, it would be a good day, because that's the day we have to balance the budget. When people say, we're not going to loan you any more money, you're not a good investment, we don't trust that you'll pay it back. That is the day that you can only spend as much money as you take in on any given week.
And are a lot of people in Congress aware of this and like battling it, or it almost seems like we don't even hear about, like, it seems like it's one of those things you hear about during the election cycle and that's about it, you know? Like, we're going to balance the budget, and it never happened. No one ever balances the budget. Like, do you think anyone, either one of these parties, even want to balance the budget?
No. They're not serious about it. It's why I built the debt badge, to like shove it in their face every day. And they're still not concerned about it. I mean, they're a little bit concerned, but as long as they can get reelected, they're not that concerned.
Right.
And I don't blame them for all of it. I blame the American people who keep reelecting people because they tell them you can have these things and it won't cost anything. So I hear people talk about like mass deportations, and there's $100 billion to DHS and $50 billion to DOJ to do mass deportations. Well, we know it doesn't cost that. Whatever Trump has intended to do, it's not going to cost $150 billion. But people say, I don't care what it costs. And the reason they say I don't care what it costs is they don't think they're paying it.
Yeah.
They don't care what anything costs. They don't care what war in the Middle East costs, because they don't see that they're paying it.
Well, it's all gotten so confusing. And when you start with communication with people, even on a financial front, of this Hogwartsian number, right?
Yes, yeah.
When you start, because we all learn basic math in school.
Yeah.
Some of us learn algebra. Some of us go on to learn some higher maths, right? But when you're starting with this, the regular person doesn't know where to begin. You feel literally like numerically defeated out of the gate, right? The average person, because it's like it's impossible. So this sets everything up with impossibility, right? So I think that's why we've gotten so far. We've gotten 2 generations now into complete impossibility of numerical reality when it comes to even having some of the discussions, I think. Does that make any sense?
No, that makes sense. It's virtual reality.
Right.
The last 5 digits on this debt counter, they change about $80,000 a second. That's like a Cybertruck being launched into the ocean every second. Like boom, 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 boom. That's how much debt we're taking on.
Well, so I hope the new model looks a little bit different. I have a Cybertruck, but and
Let's
model,
put my camper in it.
Oh, I don't know if we can fit it in there.
I don't think so. That's why I have an F-250.
Dude, yeah, I think I need to get something that I want something that it feels like you'll burn to death when you hit something. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like about something that's got some real fuel in it. Let's talk, since we're talking about debt, let's talk a little bit about the big beautiful bill, right?
Yeah.
And you oppose it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's reasons that I've learned recently that I oppose. I don't know a ton of them, but I know some of my reasons, but I don't know everything that's in the bill. Why are you against it? Because it's not going to help our debt.
No. That's the first big lie that's told about the big beautiful bill. You can finagle the numbers. Mm-hmm. The big beautiful bill looks at a 10-year spending window. Okay. And what it does is in the next 5 years, it's going to add to the deficit. Like nobody disputes that. Even the number crunchers that work for the president know that's going to happen. What they're claiming is 5 years from now, it will start to break even and reduce the deficit. The problem is the people I serve with, a lot of them aren't going to be there 5 years from now.
Right.
The President Trump's not going to be there 5 years from now. This big, beautiful bill doesn't force people 5 years from now to do that. It suggests that they should do that, and it will do that unless somebody does something different. But they're going to do something different 5 years from now. We'll get to that point, and they'll say, oh my gosh, that Congress 5 years ago set up a fiscal cliff. We're going to be hit with tax increases on seniors. We're going to be hit with tax on tips. We're going to be hit with tax on overtime. Oh my gosh, the military's not going to get as much money as it got last year. We got to do something about this. And so what they'll do is they'll cut taxes again and they'll increase spending again, and this deficit will never go down. And I'm not even talking about the debt. The deficit is how much you add to the debt every year. It's about $2 trillion. It's going to be above $2 trillion next year, and for as far as the eye can see.
But I got to talk with J.D. Vance a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about that a lot of what's happening now is still because of the last party that was in.
Yeah, and a lot of it's still because of what Trump did when he was in last time. So
I'm just wondering how far it's tough to like as a regular person, it's tough to correlate how far up or downstream you are from who was actually responsible for whatever's occurring. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but in 2020 we had COVID hit, and they put a $2 trillion spending bill on the floor, and I was the only one who would oppose it. I said, this is going to cause, Trump was president and Pelosi was speaker, but they were working together. I said, this is going to cause massive inflation. You're going to have shortages in the stores, and this is going to last for years. And the inflation, once it happens, the prices will never go back down. And that's exactly what happened. They said, Congressman Massie, the president's chief of staff at the time, told me, he said, it was Mark Meadows, who's a friend of mine. We both worked together in Congress. He said, the reason this is $2 trillion is so we don't have to pass another one of these. It's just going to be painful once. Well, guess what? By the time December rolled around under Trump, we passed another one of these stimulus packages that was over $1 trillion. And don't forget, people got a $1,200 check the first time, and they got a $600 check the second time. I told folks that's the cheese in the trap. That most of that $1,200 check, you multiply that times the number of families in the United States, it wasn't 5% of the spending in that bill. Most of that money went to corporations and banks eventually.
Yeah.
And so everybody's responsible for it. Everybody wants to point to the other party for it. But, I don't want to upset too many people who like wrestling, but it's like the WWF, okay, or...
Oh, it's felt like this for years. I think everything is turning into the WWE. Everything. Yeah. It's all like optics and the way things are shot, and this is out there, and this is what you believe. It's like interviews that are just to get the hype, and then they off stage, they're all in the in the locker room, like rubbing GHB on each other's backs and stuff like that, and gramming out.
Let